Thank you all so much for being here. It is time to start our 45 minutes worth of Pilates. Grab your mat, grab a cushion for hands and knees, and let's get ourselves moving. All right, we are gonna start standing on our mat. I'm gonna stand a little bit further back just so more of my body is in that screen. I'm in a pretty small space right now, so we'll do our best. Let's go ahead and get our feet a little bit wider apart than our shoulders. We're gonna turn our toes to point outward, heels pointing toward each other, and the toes are pointing toward the front and bottom corners of the room, if that's a helpful cue. Let's shift back slightly toward our heels and soften up our knees. We're gonna let that tailbone drop toward the floor. As we do that, we're gonna picture a string coming up through the center of the body, exiting out the crown of the head and pulling us upwards. So we get a little space, we're picturing a little space between each vertebra, a little space between each transitional segment of our body. So between our head and our neck, the neck and the middle back and rib cage, the rib cage, middle back and lower back, the lower back and the pelvis. Let me picture a little space between our hips, a little space between our knees, a little space between our ankles, and let's wiggle our toes around a little bit. All right, we're gonna take our feet and roll them in, roll toward the inner borders of the feet and roll toward the outer borders of the feet. Get a sense of what's going on underneath those feet. We may feel like we have cotton balls underneath them if the sensation isn't super great. You might just feel that roll, feeling more pressure on the inside of the foot and then more pressure on the outside of the foot. We might feel our lower legs start to go along for the ride with those muscles engaging to keep us upright as we continue to roll. Let's bring our weight right back over the center of the foot. So our heel, our big toe, and our pinky toe all have some weight through it. So we have that nice tripod or triangular base of support underneath us. Let's breathe those shoulders up to our ears and then breathe them right down toward the hips. Again, inhale toward the ears, exhale toward the hips. Repeat, let's feel those shoulder blades sliding along that nice smooth rib cage up and down. As we drop the blades down, we'll tip our head side to side. Let's just feel that length from ear to shoulder as we open up on one side and as we close down on the other side. We'll bring our head upright, give the chin a little bit of a nod, and then turn. We'll look toward one side wall and then to the other. And if we have a little more room to move, we're gonna turn and see if we can see the wall behind us. Just a couple extra degrees. Turn that head, the crown of the head still reaching all the way up to the ceiling. And we're feeling the length between each segment of our spine. Looking forward, let's take a big breath in and exhaling, we're gonna draw our belly and our spine toward each other. So we're narrowing the distance from front to back. As we engage, we'll feel that seatbelt of muscles tightening right around our midsection. Let's bring our hands down to start and then let's breathe the arms up and overhead and bring them out to the side and down by the body. Again, breathe them up and overhead, exhale them out and down. Breathe them out to the side so the hands are level with those shoulders. We're gonna face our palms toward our screen and stretch those fingertips as far away from the center of the body as we can get them. Let's move our arms along with the body. Picture airplane wings as we tip that trunk from side to side. We're gonna keep that core active, keep the belly and spine drawing toward each other and feel our side muscles engaged to keep us nice and supported. Keeping those rib cages lifted up off the pelvis. Coming back to center, rotate from that breastbone. We're gonna do a few mini turns, taking the upper body side to side. Rotate, take them back to center. We're gonna side bend again, take the opposite arm up and over. Reach back to center and exhale the other way. Side bend and reach. Inhale it up. One more to each side. Side bend, reach. Inhale up and side bend, reach. Inhale up tall. Let's take those arms down, shake those shoulders out, and then we're gonna step our feet in a little closer. Heels are lined up now under our sit bones. We'll move our weight from the heels to right over the front of our ankle joints now. So our center of gravity is right over our arches. We're gonna stack the body up over those arches and lift the toes. As we lift our toes up, maybe we look down at our feet to see if they're actually lifting. We're gonna feel our inner arches, the arches on the inside border of the foot. We're gonna feel those lifting from the floor as well. Spread the toes apart, feel the stretch across the top of the foot, and let's place our pinky toes, our fourth toes, our third toes, our second toes, and finally that big toe firmly into the mat. Again, lift the toes, spread them apart, and tap them down. Lift and spread and tap those toes down. One more time, lift them up, spread them apart, and tap them down. And as that big toe presses into the mat, we bring our fingertips to the front of the waist, our thumbs to the back of the waist, and let the web space right between the thumb and the forefinger rest gently on our waistline. We're gonna press gently down Giving a little bit of input to the top of the pelvis. Monitor the front of the body with the fingertips, and we're gonna shift our weight forward and back, keeping our toes and our heels on the mat as we continue to shift. As we move, we're gonna feel our trunk start to engage a little bit differently depending where we are in that range. We'll probably feel the least through the center of the motion because that's our most efficient position. We shouldn't have to do a whole lot to maintain that stability if we're right over our base. But as we come forward, we're gonna feel the trunk working. And as we come back toward the heels, we will feel our trunk working a little more. Coming back to the center, now let's press the weight from foot to foot. Our goal here really is to keep that pelvis nice and still. Our hands at the waistline can monitor whether anything's lifting or dropping as we move. It's as if we're tracing a horizontal line on the ceiling. As we move, we're gonna feel our hips, our sides of our hips kick in, and we will feel some differences in engagement through those trunk muscles. Let's make some circles around the base of support and again, feel the change in how those muscles activate. They turn on and turn off, or turn on and turn on more at different points in our range. And then let's circle the other direction. Continue making that nice circle on the ceiling. We're gonna pause with our weight over the balls of our feet and let's stretch those toes again away from each other a little bit. Pressing our toes into the floor, big toe and pinky in particular. See if you can lift your heels up just a touch. As we press our toes into the mat or into our floor, we're gonna feel the calves start to activate. We can lift up a little higher, keeping the weight forward. Let's lower the heels and lift the heels, keeping the weight over the balls of the feet. Lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. As we take our heels down, we'll now shift over those ankles, shake out the knees, shake out those wrists, and let's get ready to make our way down to the floor. Now's the time to grab any extra padding you might want. Let's place it on the mat halfway up in the center point. Our feet are gonna be a foot to a foot and a half away from those extra padding. So adjust yourself accordingly. Let's take our hands right to where the hips fold into the pelvis, and we're gonna tip our body forward. Let's bend our knees if we need to get that trunk parallel to the floor and to the ceiling, and hold it there as we reach our fingertips toward the mat. Let's move through a row. Squeeze and release those blades. Maybe squeezing those glutes together. Feel the outer hips activate as we move through that row. Squeezing our shoulder blades together as if we're cracking a walnut between them. Squeeze and hold those elbows tucked in by the sides, and then we're gonna press our arms straight, bringing them toward the wall behind us. Press and press, swinging the arms down to the floor. We'll face our palms to the mat and bend the knees so we can get our hands down. Walk those arms forward, adjusting your foot and leg position until we get those knees right over any extra padding that you might have. From here, let's do a couple little rock backs. Bring the bottom back toward the heels and then rock over those wrists. Don't worry a ton about what's going on in the midsection right now. Just get that experience of pressing through the hands and pressing through the toes. We'll come right back up to all fours. Now we take a big breath in, and exhaling, we draw our belly and our spine toward each other. We're gonna feel the underside of the body pressing up toward the ceiling. We're gonna try to keep our trunk and back nice and still. And again, we rock the bottom back to the heels. Imagining that we have something balanced in the small of the back that we don't wanna lose. If we over round, it's gonna topple back behind us. Okay, rock back and forth. We're coming right back up over our knees and over those wrists. Now let's take the belly to the ceiling and curl. We're gonna take that pubic bone, curl it toward the breastbone, round into cat. Take the tailbone toward the ceiling and reverse, unfurling into cow. Again, curl up to cat. Feel that midsection engaging. Lengthen to cow, keeping a little activity through that midsection even as we extend. Twice more, curl to cat. Lengthen to cow, and one final time, curl it up. We reverse. Coming back to center, upper body stays still. Take that tail side to side, wag your tail, fold that body in half, keeping the upper body nice and still. We're gonna feel those muscles lengthening and contracting along our sides. Coming back to center, turn the tops of the feet to the floor. Hold it here, and let's tap one foot at a time just beyond the outer border of our mat, just getting a little extra mobility, lengthening through those hip rotators. Let's cross one foot over the opposite lower leg, rotating those hips the other direction, while still giving a little bit of input to the hip joint because our leg is on the mat. Coming back to center, we'll take our feet together, bring the knees toward the outer border of our mat, and let's press the bottom all the way back to the heels. If that's not feeling great on your knees, keep those hands forward and just come back as far as you're comfortable going. We're gonna try our best to press the heels of the hands into the mat, and then we lower those forearms down and slide them in toward our inner knee joint lines. Shift the weight. Let's go side to side. Let's open up, lengthening through those inner thighs on the side we're moving away from. Coming back to center, slide the hands forward. Find that first point of stretch. Be underneath those armpits, maybe to the outer borders of our shoulder blades. We're gonna hold it here. Inch those hands forward a little farther if you have a little more room to move, and we're gonna lower that forehead down. Maybe we touch the mat. If your underarms are real tight, all I want you to think about is lowering the head till it starts to line up with the arms. Holding here, take a big breath in. As we breathe out, we're gonna drop our forearm, shift the weight over those elbows, and remove any extra padding we have under our thighs. We're gonna bring those paddings off to the side to use a little bit later. And we're gonna lengthen our legs back and come to rest on the upper thighs just below our hips. Okay, we have a little bit of backward bending through that spine. If that's not feeling excellent to you, I do want you to lower your body down. You can get your belly on the floor if that's the case. Otherwise, take a big breath in. Exhaling, draw the belly to the spine. Either way, we're gonna press through our hands and lift the crown of the head up just slightly up the wall in front of us. Let's squeeze and press through our shoulder blades. Take them back, press them forward. Take them back, press them forward. Scapular push-ups. Work those stabilizing muscles under the arms. We're gonna hold here, take a big breath in. Exhaling, let's turn toward our screen. We're gonna stay on that forearm on the other side, lining our elbow up under our shoulder and taking the knees forward. Heels are coming back till they line up with our hip bones, and we're gonna take that top hand to the bottom of our waist. Lift that waist up as if a string is pulling the top line of our waist up toward the ceiling. With our top hand on our hip, we hold. Engage belly to spine a little further. See if you can feel those muscles engaging under your fingertips. And then we're gonna take our top arm and float it toward the ceiling. Let's hold, pressing firmly through your hand and your elbow on that underside. Let's take that top hand down and take it back up. Warm up those shoulder blades. Arm comes down, float it to the ceiling. 2 more, down and up. Last time, arm comes forward, arm comes up. Excellent. Let's float the arm down by our side. We're gonna come through a sitting position and make our way over to our other side. Resting on that bottom forearm, we have our elbow underneath our shoulder, our knees are forward, and heels again line up with our bottom. Shoulder comes away from the ear on that bottom side, and we take our top hand to the waistline and lift gently up toward the ceiling, feeling those muscles engage underneath our fingertips. We now check the top side of the waist with our hands on the top side of the waist. Again, navel to spine, press those fingertips in, feel a little muscle engagement, and we'll float our top arm to the ceiling. Top hand comes down in front, and then we raise it up. Float it down, raise it up, float it down, raise it up, and one more time. Arm comes down, lift that arm up. We're gonna float it down by our side. Give that shoulder a little roll, and let's come all the way down to our side. Bottom arm stretches toward the screen, and we're gonna turn onto our backs. Flip the palm of that outstretched hand up to the ceiling, and then we're gonna unfold our other arm till it reaches toward the far wall. We're gonna do our best here to get ourselves lined up with our arms straight out, straight line from middle finger of one hand to middle finger of the other. If that's not working for you because of too much stretch on the chest, we can move our arms down a little closer to our waistlines. Anywhere from by our sides all the way out to T is perfectly acceptable. It's all going to be dependent on your level of comfort and flexibility here. So we'll start here. We're going to take that chin and nod it gently toward the neck so we feel a little bit of length through the back of the neckline. We're not going for a huge tuck. I want you to still be able to breathe. We're not trying to cut off our air supply there. So just a touch of a tuck. We're going to take our breastbone and drop it down toward the floor. As we think about getting nice and heavy through the breastbone, we're going to feel the middle of the back press gently down into the mat. From here, the hands are going to come to our lowest ribs. Breathe in, feeling the rib cage expand into the arm, into the hands. And then as we exhale, we're going to draw those ribs down, shortening the space between our breastbone and our ribs and that belly button. From here, we re-engage, draw the belly to the spine. We press through our tissues, superficial tissues, and we're going to feel those muscles engage under our fingertips. Keeping those engagements, we're going to take our arms back to that T position and turn the head side to side. As we turn our head, we may feel a stretch through the chest on the side we're looking away from, We may feel a stretch through our upper arms. We're doing a little bit of mobility work for all those nerves that go down all the way to the tips of our fingers. Let's look toward the ceiling. Float the arms to the ceiling. Keeping that middle back down, we're going to float those arms back overhead. Reach them to the wall behind us. Find your stretch point and then reach the arms right back up to the ceiling. Exhale those arms back and overhead. Inhale them to the ceiling. Exhale them back. Inhale them up. And one more time, open those arms back overhead. Breathe them up to the ceiling. Lower the blades. And then let's take our arms down by our sides. We're going to keep our core engaged and picture that clock face on our midsection. Let's curl the pelvis toward the breastbone. There's 12 o'clock. Lengthen the pubic bone forward, tailbone toward the heels for 6. Curl it to 12. Reverse and lengthen to 6. 2 more times. Curl to 12, flatten that back. Reverse to 6. Notice my head and neck are staying nice and still. One more time. Curl to 12. Lengthen to 6. And then we come right back to center. Pubic bone is nice and level. Bones in the sides of the pelvis are nice and even with each other. Now we're going to take the side of the pelvis closest to the screen, rock it down as we lift our far side up toward the ceiling. Press your far foot firmly into the floor. We'll feel the back side of the body engage here. There's 3 o'clock. Come through center and rock the opposite side. Far side comes down, leg closest to the screen, presses into the floor, and that hip lifts. 9 o'clock. Roll it to 3. And roll it to 9. Again, roll it to 3. Roll it to 9. Take it back to center, big breath in and exhale, reset belly to spine. We're going to float one knee up to 90 degrees. Take both hands to the front of that thigh and gently press the thigh and the hands toward each other. We'll feel our hip muscles activate right in front. We're going to drop our shoulders away from the ears, and as we continue to build pressure through that thigh, we should also start to feel a little bit of work through our midsection. Hold. We now have one free leg. We can wiggle that heel up. We're going to lift that leg up and down, tapping the toes to the floor and then lifting right back up to meet the other knee. Lower it down, lift up, all the while maintaining a little pressure through the front of that opposite thigh. Lower and lift. Let's switch our hands, pressing into the opposite thigh, drop the shoulders away from the ears, and if we need to, we can reset belly to spine. Let's lower our toes, we'll lift them up on that newly freed side. Lower and lift. Lower and lift one more time. Lower those toes. Lift them up to 90, take one hand to each thigh and press gently. As we continue to build pressure from hands and thighs toward each other, we're going to feel that midsection engage a little bit more. Can we straighten and bend our knees, finding a length through the backs of the thighs? Straighten and bend. They do not need to go all the way straight. We're just going to the stretch point where we first start to build a barrier to movement. Lengthen and bend. Let's hug our far knee into the chest. Slide the opposite leg out along the mat and tighten up the front of that thigh, lengthening the back of the knee to the floor. We're going to draw that knee across the body, give a little bit of a wiggle, opening up that hip. Take it back to center, hang on behind the lifted thigh, lengthen up to the ceiling, find the length behind your lifted leg. Flex and point the toes. Give that ankle a wiggle and feel the length through the back, all the way to the back of the calf. Pointing the toes, we keep that core engaged and float our arms to the ceiling, dropping the shoulders to the mat. Let's take that lifted leg side to side. There's 4. And 3. Last 2, bones in the back of the pelvis are nice and still. Sweep that leg through a circle, stirring our hip in its socket. Keep circling. If you need to take some pressure off the back of the thigh, we can bend that knee. We'll pause at the top, breathing in and exhaling. We circle the other way. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug that knee into the chest. Release the front of the hip as we draw the knee inward. And we'll take our opposite knee in to meet it, lengthening through the low back as we do so. Let's switch legs. Far leg comes down. Take the hands to the back of the thigh and extend through that knee, lifting the toes up. Bend that knee, find your stretch point, and hold it, pointing toward the ceiling. Flex and point those toes, wiggle through the ankle and feel that length all the way even through the back of the calf. Hold here, big breath in. Exhaling, take the hands away from the thigh, float them to the ceiling, and we'll anchor the back of the pelvis into the mat. Take that lifted leg, move it out and in, keeping the pelvis in trunk, anchor to the mat, facing the ceiling, and we'll circle. There's 4, start small, add a little range as you get more comfortable, bending or keeping that knee straight as appropriate for you. Pause at the top, take a breath, and breathing out, we will take it the other way. There's 4, 3, circle for 2, breathe in at the top. Draw that knee into the chest, hold it there, let the front of the hip lengthen out, loosen up, and we'll draw across the body, lengthening through that glute. Inhale to center, keeping that knee drawn in, we reset belly to spine, and float that straight leg out toward the wall in front, hovering it up off the mat. Hold it there. Can we hold and float the arms to the ceiling? Switch the legs, pulling one knee as close to the body as we can while stretching the opposite toes to the wall in front. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Hold that outstretched leg where it is. Take the opposite arm back overhead. Switch it up. And switch. And switch. And switch. Here's 4. And 3, keep the head and neck nice and still. 2, and 1. Hug everything into the chest. Release the lower back into the mat and rock that body from side to side. Excellent. Take a big breath in, and we'll breathe right back to center, giving the shoulders a roll back and down. Let's take our hands to the kneecaps, guide those feet down to the floor, and take the hands just out beyond the border of the mat. We're going to rock our knees toward the screen and away, allowing our hip to come up a little bit on the side we're moving away from. Trunk and shoulders stay anchored down into the mat, and those collarbones stay nice and long and wide. Coming back to center, take a breath. Exhale, belly to spine. We're going to float our knees back to tabletop, straighten those legs, stretching our toes to the ceiling as best we can. Let's reset belly to spine. Hands come by the sides. We're going to press those feet out toward the side walls. Inhale, up and over, crossing one over the other. Exhale out, inhale, cross. Exhale out, inhale, cross. Exhale out, inhale, cross. Let's bring those feet together, gluing those legs together. We're going to make some counterclockwise circles on the ceiling. Corkscrew motion. If you want to challenge this further, open those feet up toward the wall in front a little bit more. So we open up that hip angle. Sweep those legs to the ceiling and pause, breathe it in. On the exhale, we circle the other direction, first pointing the toes to the ceiling. And if we want to challenge that trunk a little more, bring the feet forward so they're reaching up toward the top of the wall in front of us. Breathe to center. Turn those kneecaps away from each other. We're going to inhale to frog, toes and heels pulling in toward the center of the body. Breathing out, reset belly to spine, extend those legs, press toward the wall in front. Inhale to frog and exhale, press. Inhale to frog, exhale, press. One more time, inhale to frog, exhale, press. Hug those knees into the chest. Rock that body from side to side. Take a big breath in and breathe right back to center. Give those shoulders a couple of rolls back and down. We'll turn our head toward the screen and away. Let's look to the ceiling and bring our feet down to line them up with our sit bones. Knees are bent and hands are down by our sides. Walk those fingertips down a little closer to the feet. Let's take a breath and exhale, and we press our heels through the floor, squeeze the glutes, and let's lift right up to bridge. Hold the bridge at the top, feel that length through the thighs. Find a motion that you can arrange that you can lift through without pulling into strain or pain in your lower back. Some of us may be lower, some of us might be a little higher. From here, we're going to take our fingertips to the bones in the front of the pelvis. Let the elbows rest on the sides, and we're going to lower and lift one hip at a time. Rotate one hip down toward the mat, and then squeeze, lifting it back up to line up with the other. Exhale the other hip down. Inhale and lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Repeat one more time. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. And let's lower that body down. Lengthening the tailbone toward the heels. And we release our glutes at the bottom and rock the knees from side to side. Let's take a big breath in. Take a big breath out. Coming back to center, let's breathe and exhale. Draw the belly to the spine. We'll squeeze and lift right back up to the top. Press your hands through the floor. We're going to keep those hips lifted and go up and down on our toes for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heels come down. Let's lengthen the body down. When those glutes touch the mat, we again release and rock the knees from side to side. Again, big breath in, and again, big breath out. Breathe them back to center. Belly to spine on the exhale. Let's squeeze and lift. Pressing the hands into the mat, we're going to move into a march. Take one knee in toward the body. Bring that foot down and repeat on the other side. Keep the hips lifted as best we can as we march for 8, for 7, 6, 5, last 4, and 3. Here's 2, and 1. Press that foot down, squeeze and lift those hips again. Lower back down, release those glutes at the bottom. Let's butterfly one knee at a time out to each side wall. Keep that pelvis nice and still, get a little bit of length through the inner thigh. Coming back to center, we're gonna cross our far ankle over our near knee. Let that knee float to the side to its first natural stopping point. And if we have a little more slack and are able to lift that leg up off the mat without having to pull with our hands, you're welcome to lift. Rock away from the cross leg, whether that one foot's on the floor or not. And as we wiggle away from the cross leg, we're gonna notice the cross side stretch moving toward the outer portion of the hip. Maybe the outer portion of the thigh, depending on where your initial tightness was. We'll come back to center and unwind. And then again, ankle to knee, let that knee float to its first natural stopping point out to the side without forcing anything. And again, if we have a little more slack to take out and we're able to lift that foot up without having to pull on it, go ahead and lift up. Let's rock away from the crossed over side. And again, we're moving our stretch toward the outer hip, or maybe simply toward the outer thigh, depending on where our initial stretch was felt. Breathing back to center, we'll unwind and give those knees one more hug. Let's take our feet to the floor, turn toward the screen, and we're gonna make our way to hands and knees. So what I'd like you to do is grab that extra cushioning that you have if you'd like to use it, and we're gonna again place it right in the center of our mat. Taking those knees over the cushion, we're gonna bring our hands to the floor. Let's turn our toes under, unless your toes bother you in this position, in which case it's okay to keep the tops of the feet on the mat. But we're gonna bring those toes back if we can to get a little stretch to the sole of the foot, but also just to have a little bit of an input from those toes into the mat. We're using cues from our hands and our feet to get that core and our shoulder blades working as well. So we're gonna draw the belly to the spine without letting the back move here, or as much as we can, we're keeping that back still. Elbows are gonna stay still. We're gonna squeeze our shoulder blades together behind the back so the breastbone drops, and then we're gonna press that breastbone away from the floor. Shoulder blades coming toward the mat. Squeeze and press. So we have a little shoulder blade push up here, similar to what we were doing in forearms when we were warming up. Squeeze and press, one more. Squeeze and press. Hold it here. We're gonna take the arm on the screen side, lift it up and press it into your thigh. Again, squeeze and press through that single weight bearing arm. If this isn't feeling great on your shoulder or chest for any reason, feel free to put the other fingertips down, give a little assist. Switch sides. Press that hand in, lift the other arm up. We're gonna place our hand on our thigh, and then we squeeze back, press forward, squeeze and press. 2 more, press forward, last one. Press and hold. We'll take our hand to the mat and curl to cat, reversing through to cow. Again, curl to cat and reverse to cow. Bring that body right back to center. Press through the heels of the hands, press through your toes if you're up on your toes. And we're gonna lift our knees up just a bit. Hips and shoulders are lined up with each other. Let's shift forward back, give it a rock. If your knees are down, we are rocking back and forth regardless. Coming back to center, take those knees down. Everybody turn the tops of the feet to the floor. Shake those feet out, and let's move to our shoulder taps. Take one hand at a time, right to the opposite shoulder. Feeling what's going on the underside of the trunk, from one shoulder to the opposite thigh. Let's make ourselves work a little harder maybe. Take the pinkies to the outer borders of that mat. And as we press into that wider base, we're gonna feel our muscles engaging a little bit lower down, a little closer to that pelvis. Let's take our hands back under our shoulders, reach the hands a little bit closer forward, walk them toward the head of the mat, and then keeping the core engaged, we're gonna shift forward, opening the hips and taking the shoulders again over those wrists. Let's turn our toes under. Shift the weight side to side. Push the floor away with the hands here. And then come back to center. Let's press into our toes, straighten out those knees, bring ourselves to plank. Lower and lift the knees. Keep those hips open as we do so. Breastbone comes up toward the wall in front, and then breastbone faces the floor. One more time, knees come down. Take it back to plank. We'll bring our knees back to any cushioning we have. Walk back till we're on that all fours position, and shake out those wrists. With the hands coming down, again, we curl the cat, reverse to cow, and come right back to center. Let's take our feet together, bring those knees apart. We'll press the bottom back down to the heels. Slide or walk the hands forward. And as we inch those fingertips forward, we'll feel the armpits lengthen out, we'll feel our side muscles lengthen out, and maybe we can let that forehead rest down toward the floor. Feel free to bring your elbows apart and toward the mat if we need a little bit of support and slack in our upper body here. Take a big breath in here, feel the back side of the body open up, especially if those arms are forward. And as we breathe out, we'll walk our hands toward our screen. Pause with the hands either one on top of the other or right next to each other. Take that breath. Breathing out, we'll walk our hands over to the other side. Again, take a big breath in. Breathe it out. Walking the hands forward, we're gonna drop those forearms, shift the weight over them, reset belly to spine, take the cushioning away from under those knees, and let's come to rest on our upper thighs. Again, just like in the warm-up, we're gonna press through our hands, send the breastbone up slightly, and let's kick one heel at a time in toward the bottom. Nice quick kicks, lengthening through those quads to the front of the thighs, and working that trunk. We're doing our best to keep that low back curve nice and still, whatever it is now. All right, take a breath here. Exhaling, we're gonna come down. We'll push ourselves up through that hands and knees position. Let's turn and take a long seat on our mat. We'll start with our knees bent. Let's get our center of gravity over the front of our sit bones. So we might wanna pull our glutes out of the way a little bit so we feel those bones contacting the mat. Our feet come out to the outer borders of the mat. And then let's inch our toes forward and slide those heels forward. Our goal here is gonna be to keep that trunk upright. So if your hamstrings are tight and you feel like it's not gonna work out to keep those knees straight without tucking back, go ahead and keep those knees a little bit bent. The arms come forward into that same narrow V. We have our legs in. Let's take a breath in and draw the belly in as we exhale. Lean that body forward. We're moving from our hips, our back staying nice and still. And then we come up nice and tall. Breathing out, let's hinge and reach forward. Inhale up tall. 2 more times. Exhale, reach. Inhale it up. And last one, exhale, reach forward. Inhale up tall. We're gonna bring our arms forward, shoulder width apart now. Legs come together, we can shake them out. Bend up those knees, inch the hips forward toward the heels. We're gonna take our hands to the outsides of our thighs. Let's give our shoulders a roll, press the hands and thighs toward each other and feel those hips activate as we do so. Straighten out the elbows a bit. We're gonna lean that trunk back until we feel our trunk activating. We're gonna feel that midsection working. We can support that by drawing the belly in a little bit closer to the spine. From here, we're gonna open and close one arm at a time, reaching toward the wall as we do so. As we open and close, we're gonna feel our side muscles here. Those obliques are kicking in to keep us supported. The power of just using a little pressure from our hand toward our thigh does a nice job of getting those muscles to work. One more to each, open and close each arm. Let's grab those shins, draw everything up nice and tall, and give the shoulders a roll back and down. We'll take our hands back. Our fingertips are gonna turn toward the outer borders of our mat. We're gonna squeeze our elbows tight and squeeze those shoulder blades together. So elbows are relatively straight. We may not have them locked out, it's up to you. From here, we're gonna send our breastbone to the ceiling, and we're gonna take the back of the head and let it draw back toward the wall behind us, toward the floor. Inch the heels back toward the bottom, and then walk your bottom forward a little bit. Inch them forward so we get a little stretch in the biceps. This may be enough stretch for you through the upper arms and through that chest. Let's everybody take a couple deep breaths here. We'll breathe in and out. And then if you do want a little more, inch those hips farther forward, and we're gonna lift up and weight those hips. Take them up a little bit further. We're gonna try to get to that reverse tabletop position. Hold. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower that body. Let's turn and take a seat on the mat. Shake those wrists out and give the shoulders a roll. Legs could be crossed. We could have one leg crossed, one leg in front of us. We're just sitting up tall for a second to give that neck and that shoulder area a little bit of opening, a little stretch time before we move on to our sides. Coming up nice and tall, we'll turn our head, look over one shoulder and then the other. And let's look forward. Okay, we're gonna make our way down to our mat, resting on our bottom arm. Let's keep our bottom leg straight. Our top knee bends up and our toes are resting right at the bottom knee. We're gonna press our top hand into the mat and bring the top of the pelvis forward so it stacks over or is slightly in front of that bottom leg. From here, we're gonna take that top knee down and lift it to the ceiling. Take it down and lift. Lower and lift. One more, lower and lift. Take the top knee back to hip level. Lift the top foot and take that whole leg up and down. Fire hydrants. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift. Take it back to hip height. Stretch the top leg forward. Swing it back. Swing it forward. Swing it back. Two more. Swing back. Last time. Swing back. Keep the leg behind the bottom leg and take it down and up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Circle. 3, 2, and 1. Reverse it. There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the leg up there. We're going to pulse it to the ceiling. Side of the ankle stays lifted up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take that bottom leg up and down. Lift, lift, and lift. Last 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Top leg comes down. Give that knee a little bend and pat out your hip. Excellent. Let's take ourselves up and over to the other side. Resting on that bottom arm, we'll straighten out those legs and then we'll bend our bottom knee up, touching the toes to the bottom knee. Top hand presses into the mat and we're going to stack the pelvis with the top side over the bottom side or slightly forward. Take the top knee down, lift it up, take it down and press, lower and press. One more, lower it down, press and hold, top knee stays lifted, we'll bring our foot to meet it. Fire hydrants, take it up and down for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Back to hip height, stretch the toes forward and lengthen that leg back. Swing, lengthen back. 2 more, press back, swing forward, press back and hold, touch the toes down, lift them up, lower and lift, lower and lift. We're reaching those toes toward the far wall. Lift and hold, circle. 3, 2, and 1. Take it backward. 3, 2, 1. Give a little pulse. Hold, feel that glute engage. Stretch those bottom legs out nice and straight. Bring them back in line with the top leg. Lift up and down. Last 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take that top leg down. Bend up your knees. Match your hip out. Let's turn to our backs. All right. Arms are down by the sides, knees are bent, and we line our heels up with our sit bones. Let's take one knee at a time, like a butterfly opening a wing, and take those knees out from side to side. Keep breathing. Let's take both knees over toward the screen and away, this time allowing the hip to come up on the side we're moving away from. Coming back to center, we're going to cross an ankle over the opposite knee, lifting up if we have the slack remaining to do so. Rock away from the crossed leg. Give a little wiggle, easing into a deeper stretch for those rotating muscles. Coming back to center, we'll unwind and across the opposite ankle over. Lift if we have the slack. Rock away from the crossed over side, give it a wiggle. Coming back to center, we unwind. We're going to hug those knees in. Give that body a little side to side rock. Full body side to side rock. Coming back to center, our feet come to the mat. Let's go ahead and turn toward our screen. Let's make our way to hands and knees. Again, grab that padding if you'd like it. And once we're set up in that all fours position, we curl up to cat and reverse through to cow. Again, curl it up and reverse. 2 more, curl and reverse. Last time through, curl up and reverse. Coming back to center, upper body stays still as we wag that tail from side to side. Take it back to center, we're gonna turn those toes under, press the bottom back to the heels and walk the hands back toward the legs. Let's flip our weight over to our feet. We're gonna make sure as usual that we're all the way over our ankle joints for that nice stable base of support as we come up to standing. All right, let's take a moment to get ourselves situated in that standing position. Come up nice and tall, either on your mat or slightly behind it, and we're gonna bring those feet just a touch wider apart than our shoulders. Heels point in, toes point out, and we're gonna bend up those knees a little. Send that tailbone down and the crown of the head up. Breathing in, we take those shoulders to our ears, and breathing out, we drop them down. Again, shrug them up, draw them down, and let's tip our head from side to side. Coming back up tall, let's turn that head, look over one shoulder, over the other. Coming back to center, let's take our feet together. We're gonna bring them all the way together. Heels touch, toes touch, maybe those knees are a little bit soft. Bend them up, and let's close our eyes if we feel safe to do so. As you close your eyes, you may notice little wiggles that didn't feel like they were there when the eyes were open. Feel what your feet are trying to do to keep you nice and steady. Take a breath here. Exhaling, open up the eyes. And let's take a half step forward. One heel slides forward to the arch of the other foot. So narrow base, just a little bit narrower than we had it before. Again, if you feel safe to do so, close your eyes. And maybe we feel the extra work we have to do to balance through that smaller base. Breathe in and open up the eyes on the exhale, and we're gonna switch. We're gonna take a half step forward with the other foot. Heel is level with the middle of your arch. Find your steady point, and again, if you're comfortable doing so, close your eyes. Take a big breath in. Exhaling, we open up our eyes, and we're gonna step those feet away from each other again. Soften the knees, and let's take a big breath in. Arms come up, exhale them down. With those feet together again, we close with a big breath in. Arms come up, press the palms together and look to the fingertips, and we draw everything into center. Great job. Excellent work as always, everybody. I will see you next time. I'm going to go ahead and hit stop on this recording. If you are live and anyone has any questions, feel free to stick around for a moment. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can. Take care.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Rachel.
Of course, you are so welcome. I'm going to take my spotlight off. It's so good to see you all. Thanks for those of you who shared. Oh, you're welcome, Irene.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, so good to see you all. All right. And I will see you next week.